Orange Democratic Movement, 3,000.
Those results that came in as a bang shocked all of us.
Calls started coming in from very senior people. They asked me, can you announce these results from Aberdares Forest?
We had complete data that is Raila who had won the election.
Tumeshinda mara mingi, lakini muhimu ni kwamba Kenya ni kubwa kushinda sisi zote.
I told him because I know how cameras work, turn off the lights at KCC. Yeah. But he didn't do it.
That particular minister threatened me to switch off the lights at the center.
When the lights goes off, I knew what it meant and what I was supposed to do at that time.
And what also came that one of them, I don't want to name them, was armed with grenade.
I would never have been armed the way I was armed that day.
Three things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. A saying credited to Lord Gautama Buddha and considered sacred points to the revelation of facts being inevitable. In Christianity, a biblical parallel to this is Luke chapter 8 verse 17, which states, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." On this journey of revelations, we take you down the dark memory lane that is Kenya's bitterly, brutally, and bloodily disputed election of 2007. A dark and bloody period that saw the country plunge into anarchy for days. We zoom in to the evening of Sunday, 30th December 2007 at the Kenyatta International Conference Center, as it was known then, in Nairobi. Whatever transpired here might have been a well-guarded top secret, but its sun, moon, and truth moment is here. The moment of being known and brought out to the open has arrived. I am Duncan Haemba, and this is NTV Investigates.
Enda kazi zangu za uhalifu.
But the attempt of this government to steal this election
in a polling station, and with us
Thursday, 27th December 2007. Kenyans in their thousands lined up with hopes for a better tomorrow. The only thing longer than the queues was the string of hopes roped together with the pressure and anxieties of the high-stakes presidential election, termed to be a do-or-die race. The outcome promised to be historic, just as was the case with the 1992 election, where then-sitting President Daniel Arap Moi landed a slim victory over the disjointed and scattered opposition teams. And in 2002, when the united opposition, the National Rainbow Coalition, NARC, swept the ruling KANU party out of power, ending its 39 years grip on power.
Mwaka hii kuna nyoka ndani ya nyumba yetu ya Kenya. Inaingia sivyo? Sisi wanachungwa. Tumekutana pamoja. Tukamwambia Balala na watu wa Pwani, shikilieni mkia huko.
It was a two-horse race between Orange Democratic Movement (ODM) party's candidate Raila Amolo Odinga and the Party of National Unity (PNU) candidate President Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki.
I am calling upon all of you.
That hotly contested election was an ultimate political showdown of long-running political undercurrents between the two. Some context onto this division. Raila Odinga was shortchanged when President Kibaki failed to honor a memorandum of understanding between NARC and Odinga's Liberal Democratic Party LDP wing, which was that upon clinching power, the NARC administration would deliver a new constitution within 100 days, on account of which Raila Odinga would be made Prime Minister.
You were betrayed over the MOU. which we signed in a room somewhere in the Nairobi club. And then later on when we said, let us now implement this MOU, we were told, oh, that thing is not even worth the paper on which it is written. That a few people went and locked themselves in a room at a hotel in town and then tried to mortgage the future of Kenya. That will not happen. And now we became like criminals who had cornered some people to sign an MOU.
As a result, NARC regime was divided into two camps. President Mwai Kibaki's and that of Minister for Roads and Public Works Engineer Raila Odinga. Then came the 2005 referendum on constitutional reforms. Government was sharply divided. Kibaki led the Yes team, whose symbol was a banana, while Raila Odinga led the No team, whose symbol was an orange, and which joined forces with the official opposition KANU, led by Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. The orange team handed Kibaki's banana camp an earth-shaking defeat.
It came out the way it did, that what looked like the opposition won the referendum, the government lost. And again, that created another problem. At about the same time, remember there was the IPPG, which had agreed earlier on that members of the commission would be appointed by political parties. That was also changed midway. And I remember senior political class coming up to say, well, that was a gentleman's agreement. We have to go back to the rule which required the president to appoint commissioners. At that time, a number of commissioners were leaving. Yes. And indeed, the president, Kibaki, went ahead and appointed other commissioners to join us. That created further misunderstanding, further divide within the political parties.
After receiving a resounding defeat at the plebiscite, a furious and wounded Kibaki sacked his entire cabinet, kicking Raila Odinga and his faction out.
I have directed that the offices of all ministers and all assistant ministers become vacant.
The might of these fallouts contributed to the weight of the battle at the ballot in 2007, where the two were facing off in a presidential election in which ODM's Odinga was seen as the likely candidate to dislodge President Kibaki from power. This battle royale saw the drive, determination and stamina that embodied the cues. Now, the fiasco that would later define that presidential election began on the voting day, Thursday, 27th December in the morning hours.
Come the day of elections, what hit us first? I had gone to Jamhuri, a polling station, to see what was happening. And while there, I got a call that Raila's name was not on the register. That was the first hit. Kibuiti himself had to go to Kibera to confirm that Raila's name was there. And actually he found, because there were lines, there were pools in various lines, he found Raila's name was there. Someone must have looked at the line, which he was, because we arranged them according to alphabets. Someone must have checked on an alphabet where Raila was not and shouted that Raila's name is not on the register.
His argument and his team was, in fact, they were saying, this is where Raila has been voting since 1992. Mm-hmm. How come now in 2007 his name is not there? What was the hit?
That was not correct information. You know, I think sometimes politicians in the heat of events say things that are not correct. The black book, as we used to call it, the verification book, was there to check if the name did not appear on the register. Then we went back to check to confirm that really, even in the black book, is not there.
And then serving Commissioner of Electoral Commission of Kenya, ECK, Ambassador Jack Tumwa says, signs that things would go haywire began on the election day night.
At the KICC, we expected to start receiving results at about 10 at night. I don't know what happened. We waited the whole night. There were hardly any results coming in. Then they started coming in the following day, very slow, at a very slow rate, and we started wondering.
The next 3 days started turning into a nightmare for the commission, even as the tallying went on that Friday and Saturday. A number of returning officers were yet to report physically at the command center, and neither could they be reached on phone. Anxiety kept swelling.
We will do all we can ourselves. As I said previously, I am not happy to see results coming the way they are coming, because there is no reason why results should be delayed. There cannot be any excuse. I don't find any excuse whatsoever. Because the whole purpose of introducing counting during at the polling station was to hurry up the process. And although I agree there was a challenge because this time there were more voters, the turnout was higher than ever before. That is no excuse for us to have to be here on a Saturday for elections we held on a Thursday. And we can't get our officers, I don't know. So, I don't know where they are. And so, we have asked the police to assist us to trace these people where they are, right?
Mr. Chair, you have confirmed to us here, you are so suspicious about your officers delaying the results. And that puts more suspicion on us, who are only agents in this room. Mr. Chairman, you are announcing the results that yourself you said you are suspicious and you are doubting it. How do we feel?
No, I don't doubt the results. The ones I doubt, I'm saying I cannot understand why they have not come.
We could wait. We know that there is a time limit. But really, in the interest of democracy and justice, although justice is delayed, it's just denied. But really, you know better. You know in your heart of hearts that there is something wrong. There is something wrong. And please listen to us. There is something wrong with those figures. If a figure was 66,000, how then does it jump to 95,000? Honestly.
Yesterday when I spoke, I did not say I doubt anything. I did not say figures are being cooked. But I said by staying with the papers for so long, one would suspect they are cooking. There's a difference between suspecting and the actual cooking.
All this while, results from opposition strongholds had been received, and Raila Odinga was gaining a commanding lead, or so his team thought. But then came results from 3 of Kibaki's strongholds, Juja, Kiamba, and Tharaka Nithi, and this turned tables and marked the genesis of chaos.
We were extremely uncomfortable, extremely, as the commissioners. And you remember Kibuitu coming up and say, even if, it was in that frustration. Because here are officers that we had interviewed, trained, meaning they went through the process well. Now, to reach a level where your boss is calling you and you're not responding, it caused a lot of suspicion.
Answering a question raised by His Excellency Ruto now. Then, as I don't remember, he was a minister for agriculture. He became, that time he was MP and whatnot. And he raised a question about Nithi. And I remember telling him that even where we sit, Starehe is where we are. KICC is in Starehe. No results had come. And that is a stone throw. So talking about Nithi, I don't see anything odd unduly odd, because even in Starehe, we have not had results. So if Kivuito said this, sometime Kivuito made statements occasionally which were not intended to harm, but they were ill-advised.
We were shocked at the ECK that places like Nairobi, Pangani, and a few others were not bringing in results. We expected places, places to bring in the results late. But a place like Nairobi, it was, we didn't expect results to delay because they write their count and bring it there. In fact, it would have been very easy. So that one also left us a little worried. But then on the final day of counting, we went into the afternoon. Then suddenly some results started coming in, which looked a little suspicious. And we said, no, this is not, this made, and there's suspicion because the graph started just rising. And by the time we reached the final counting, Raila was losing.
Listen, tafadhali listen.
It was that afternoon that the opposition asked us to do verification. And we took a whole night verifying both the opposition and the government, the civil society, and other observers. We stayed all night verifying the results. Yes, we found quite a few mistakes in that verification.
When it came to the last days of counting the votes, the whole Tharaka Nithi things, two things happened. One is that we were a bit confused because our records were showing from our side, Kibaki said that he was winning. But what we were seeing on media was Kibaki was losing. And then we realized that the media houses were not really telling Kenyans the truth about what was being read. You know, they would read, you get the figures being read at KCC, but the strongholds of Kibaki were not being reflected.
The government of the day took a first step in trying to manage affairs after holding a crisis meeting at State House, Nairobi, on how to stop the media from broadcasting the results.
Waziri Michuki called a meeting at Harambee House, and a citizen was represented, Nation Media House by Ngedi Mwangi. We went there, all the media houses came, and he was there with General Ali, and we asked that question.
It was a tense meeting. It was in the morning. We didn't know. We were just called. We didn't know what it was about. And I remember Minister Michuki was very agitated. Very, very agitated, and was accusing the media of, blowing this thing up. And the main message was that we needed to de-escalate the situation.
That morning, the Standard newspaper had carried what became a famous, or to some infamous, headline: Raila takes early lead. That was based on results tallied by the time. Government mandarins were seething with anger at the Standard Group's editors.
I remember that day, it was so bad because they were saying the Standard had their own, figures, and KTN too. I remember one presenter whose name I won't mention again, when she was presenting, asked, where is this guy getting these figures from? When now it started dawning on the public that actually Kibaki now is recovering and is taking the lead. That is where the problem started. Because already the nation had been prepared that Raila was leading, Raila was going to be the president. And then all of a sudden, Tharaka Nithi comes, Juja comes, comes, you know. Even as we were there now, wondering, okay, what is happening?
Lord of Kenya of today, you have allowed, you have disallowed.
Now listen.
The 24 hours that followed were consequential to the country. NTV Investigates has learned that the evening of Sunday 30th December was the execution phase of a well-crafted state machinery scheme with 3 key units: KICC, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, and State House. It was executed with military precision, supervised by then Lieutenant General Julius Karangi, who was the Vice Chief of General Staff at the time.
I'll give you the mic. Heavenly Father, we want to pray this evening that you're going to...
Time was running out, and it would appear losing power was a possibility but not welcome on the Kibaki camp.
Our fear was we would get, if the president would declare to win, Raila Odinga would get a judge to issue an injunction stopping the swearing in.
Yeah.
And so we're all locked up in State House. So because if I'm served and Mudhaura is served, then there would be no swearing in and the president. And we had gotten, because Wako told us, Amos Wako, Mheshimiwa told us that how Moi had done it before, we had gotten the Chief Justice to be around, just in case. But the figures were not coming, and then there was chaos at KCC.
Yeah.
And as the chaos were going on, I could see it was well calculated to stop Kivuitu from reading the results. Kabisa, Kivuitu was being stopped from reading the results. Because the previous nights, Martha Karua, Mutula Kilonzo, William, I don't know the Rutos in that list, but Orengo and others had gone to KCC and to do tallying.
We reached a level where we thought people were going to start fighting in the KCC. And when some of the politicians came on the stage where we were seated, lucky enough, the GSU were all around there. They came and surrounded us, and they escorted us back to the office. But you know, we had to announce the results. We had to announce the results on that day. So we moved to the VIP lounge on KICC.
Mwadime, I remember, came and chased people who were really people like the present president, who was with Raila, was aggressive. And word also came that one of them, I don't want to name him, was armed with grenade to throw at us, right? One of them from ODM. That's why we moved to a guarded room from the center, from the hall where we are announcing elections. And Frites had it. He is now a big opponent of ODM.
Now, my memory is that after the delegates, the members who were in the hall started making noise and the place looking that it was becoming chaotic, we suddenly saw the GSU who came at the high table. You know, we were sitting on the stage, came and surrounded us, and things were looking bad. We were sort of guided to go back to our sitting room. The member of the grenade, and I didn't hear about it. If it happened, I mean, if someone says something like that, perhaps they had evidence, perhaps it was the talk, the rumor of the day. I cannot subscribe to that.
Listen, Bahari.
So during this period in State House, Kibaki was cool. He was just waiting, and his view was, let Kivuitu announce the results. Let us know what the results were.
When the fracas began at the tallying center, what the country and the international community did not know is that whatever was going on had been well scripted, including timelines of when everything was to happen and what would trigger it all.
Mr. Chairman, please take control.
Nimrod Mbai was at the time a police sergeant in charge of government spokesman Alfred Mutua's security. Sundays were their off days, but that day he was told to be on standby alone and to ensure that no other team members were in the know.
Dr. Mutua calls me in the office, nikaingia. The secretary was not there. Tulikuwa tu sisi. So I find him with another guy. Tukakaa. I can't recall the name. It was around 5 in the evening. So this guy breaks the news. Is in Bwana government spokesman. Si mnaona vile kunaendelea, na I hope huyu ndio kijana alikuwa ananiambia anakuja. So daktari akamwambia so hatujui vile siku inaisha, lakini kuna kitu moja tunajua. Kibaki mpaka kwa rais. And tumeangalia hii kesi yote, the senior most government official ni wewe. And tunajua uko na security. Tunajua the security structure ya KICC. Tunajua Nimrod ni sergeant ya polisi na kuna hiyo extra security card. So at kuna masaa itafika, the government has to take over. Ndo inji isichomeke. So tukaongea yetu sasa. Hii kitu Nimrod sasa nikamuuliza hii kitu haitaletea shida. Akaniambia wewe si umeambiwa ulikula kiapo. Nikamwambia ni sawa, hakuna shida. Acha akaniambia vile nimesikia ile shida imekuwa shida kubwa na hii plan wako nayo. Ile kitu wanataka kututumia nimeshinda vile wataifanya, ni vile Kivuitu watatoka KICC. Ni kama hiyo ndio shida kubwa. From Dr. Mutua's words, ile kitu imewachanganya kabisa. Ni vile Kivuitu atatoka KICC.
A tense and panicking Mbai had to be thoroughly prepared on how to whisk Kivuitu from KICC. Firstly, it was creation of a code word. They chose their native Kamba language to make it easy for them and complex for other years.
Sasa nikamwambia the other thing we need to confirm kwamba ni sisi tutatumika kumtoa mpaka anijue. Kwa sababu sasa ajui sahihi aelewi, huyu mzee ajielewi, ajui nani ni nani. Hii wanasiasa wampigia kelele kutoka asubuhi, kamera zote, hiki yote, ile kelele amepigiwa, not unless ananijua na niamini kwamba ni mimi, it will be a challenge. Na mzee wangu tulikubaliana, we agreed on a password. So hata njoo ni mzee, hata sahau sura, nikimwambia hii ama nikija ni muite hivi, we use a word from his place hapo Mpione. So akisikia nimeitana jina ya ile kijiji yake kabisa ya nyumbani, na yeye ataitana ile jina yangu ya kijiji nyumbani. So tukaelewana na akaandika jina ya my own village na mimi nikaenda na jina ya his own village. So I was the one to start. There is another village chini ya Mpione. So that is the one I was to use.
Secondly, the administration police sergeant was subjected to a quick-fire marksmanship test at that hour and be ready for any eventuality in the duty that lay ahead, that of whisking Kivuitu away.
I would never been armed the way I was armed that day. Actually, when we got to this briefing at around 4:30 in the office, I remember a DCI guy calling me and telling me, Nimrod, you need to test your gun and take a few shots, and we see how good you are. So there is a range, a government range. A range is a place where security guys go and train on firing. There is a government range in town. So we went to this building within town. Actually, I just walked. And we went to the range. And I had gotten used to. So tulikuwa tumeelewana na bunduki yangu kabisa. I knew I could not go so much off the target depending on a certain distance. So even with the extra firearm they gave me, I stuck to mine. But with this officer who had been charged with the duty of making sure and testing my marksmanship capabilities and the gun I'm using. You know, different guns will fire differently. Then the person firing, depending on his skills, the gun will also fire in a certain way. So we went to test the gun. I tested it before him, and whatever he did with the information, I don't know. But I knew he was reporting somewhere that Nimrodi hapo sawa. Because hakuniambia anibadilishie bunduki. I told him he's working, I will work with my gun. Akaniambia bunduki ukwama. So you have to have another one. Kwa sababu hii yako ikikwama, what do you do? So we took the second one. It worked perfectly, like mine, and so we went ahead.
Meanwhile, at KICC, everything continues by the script.
Mr. Chairman, please take control.
Push and pull here and there, as masterminds kept their eyes on the clock, waiting for the hour to strike.
But let me speak about...
In March 2025, and in the presence of Raila Odinga, media mogul and political operative SK Macharia broke his silence after 18 years, dropping a bombshell.
2007, Kibaki won, and we had data, complete data, that Israel, who had won the election. I know some people will run away here, but let them run away, because we agreed with the Getahi. I'm speaking to the soul of Getahi. Here is only the body. And we had agreed whoever dies first will reveal this information for the country. So that's why I'm doing it. Our data was showing Raila had won with 1.8 million votes. And I was picked from my house at night, and all the returning officers from Mount Kenya region were held somewhere, and their return forms taken. And I was taken to my office. I found some people, I'm not going to mention their names, and we changed all those figures, and Kibaki won the election against him.
Macharia indicated that the plan to have Citizen TV manipulate results in favor of Kibaki was to ensure the figures assigned to the president match with what Kivuitu announced.
In fact, I remember when we changed the votes for Raila, he called the managing director, Wachira, because he was in the control room, and said the chairman is with some people in the office, and he is giving us figures to change. And what should we do? And Wachira said, if he's the chairman, then there is nothing you can do about it, you obey. You can keep on hitting me, but it's better to tell the truth. I told you my age.
But the attempt of this government to steal this election
Though former government spokesman claimed he was watching unfolding events from the confines of State House, NTV Investigates has established that he was actually shuttling between State House and KICC, as he was the one coordinating the process.
When I saw the chaos that was going on at KICC, and Kivuitu was being stopped from reading the results.
Imeanza kubadilika. Sasa hiyo ile margins ni kidogo. So Tharaka Nithi inakuja na margins inaanza kubadilisha weight haraka sana. Na inaendelea kuja every minute ni Tharaka inasoma. And there is nothing you could do about it. Kwa sababu Kivuitu ana announce hapa Martha Karua anasema yes. Saidi William Ruto wako. No, it is not that wana commissioner. It can't be that. I have the facts. Ako na mpaka polling station ya Tharaka yenye imeletwa. Hapana, our agent assigned this number and you've announced this number. That is, we can't agree on that. Hatukubaliani. Martha Karua naye Saidi is the sharpshooter. Anamwambia hapana nini. So ikafika mahali ni standoff.
Mr. Chairman, we are submitting, proceed and announce the winner of the election.
We want, if parties want us to retaliate, let there be a retally of all the 210 constituencies. Mr. Chairman.
The Commission explained to us why our agents in Central Eastern have been refused to sign Form 16A, 18, and 19 by presiding officers in that region.
Workers' Congress 25.
Mr. Chairman, can you listen to me? Mr. Chairman,
turnout percent was 67.92%.
We are entitled to a recount.
Registered voters 123,948.
We were suspicious. Those results that came in as a bang shocked all of us. And now that SK comes in to say that, it looks like he is confirming what the fears that we had.
If there was rigging, it may have happened at the bottom, in the constituencies. That I no control myself other than sitting in headquarters. What is brought to me as a commissioner is what we take. So if they were doctored elsewhere, we have no rule. The petitions, you cannot change those elections, those numbers. You become functus official when you announce, when the results come to you, you must announce them, become functus official. Any complainant has now to go to court.
Really, there was something wrong. And had it not exploded the way it was, I believe that we could have corrected it. I believe that perhaps I think it is clear that some of us in the commission came there biased.
Yes, it may be cooked, but it is not the commission. That one I can completely affirm that no figure that came was doctored there. What came is what we announced. If the government went and doctored elections, is elsewhere in the process, which were controlled by returning officers.
4 commissioners issued a statement expressing their reservations in the whole process. There were glaring and yawning gaps.
We needed transparency, we needed openness, and we needed the public to know.
Then came the hour for government machinery to act, a moment that pushed an already tense and anxious country over the edge it was teetering on. plunging it into never witnessed before politically instigated violence. All actors in different points of the KICC, KBC and State House triangle were activated, swinging into action.
Kivuitu was being stopped from reading the results.
Yeah.
I remember calling Philip Kisia and telling Philip Kisia, we have to cut this transmission, but you can't cut the media from going live because they are channeling a lot of things that are going to tear the country apart. I told him, because I know how cameras work, turn off the lights at KCC.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it.
When he requested that I switch off the power at KICC, of course, it was a weighty decision to make. And taking into account the volatile political situation at that time, there is no way that I would just have taken action that would have created more problems to this country. So, but then after I explained to him that, we had clear reporting lines, that I didn't report to him, he then put a minister, a very powerful minister on the line, very powerful. And I think when I'm penning down my book, we'll have a chapter for that day, 30th of December, 07, okay? And that minister has since gone to meet his creator. I will not mention his name for now, because I'm only speaking because people like Alfred Mutua have spoken. I would have kept quiet. You are born by a Secrecy Act, but then people spill the beans, including Alfred Mutua and the chairman of Citizen Group. And therefore, I'm bound, to give certain information. And of course, at this point, what I can only tell you that I discussed under very difficult circumstances with that particular minister who directed me, actually threatened me, to switch off the lights at the center. I explained to him that I was running an international conference center that cannot be plugged into darkness. But the threats continued. He actually read out a list of ministers who were seated with Kibaki at State House. And I, of course, after a lot of pressure and, seeing what was happening, I had to make a decision. The decision was purely based on the fact that Kenya was being projected in a very bad light, okay, to the entire world, that it was chaotic. So the decision to temporarily disable the system was just to give room for people to reorganize themselves, okay?
So Kivuitu comes in and tries to read the final results. He's stopped. He's pushed kabisa. So I tried to call him. He's not answering. So I call Nimrod Mbai. Then he was Inspector. It's Corporal Nimrod Mbai. He was my aide. Now he's the MP for Mutitu. He was, my bodyguard. So I called him and told him, I want you to go and get Kivuitu because we have to get these things read.
But what followed is what actually shocked me. Because after I had again restored the lights, because I only put them off for about 20 or so minutes, after I'd restored the lights, the same Alfred Mutua again called me, asking for the chairman of the electoral body, the late Kivuitu. And I happened to be with Kivuitu at that time. And Kivuitu refused to speak to Alfred Mutua. Actually, I remember him calling him, I will not speak to that small boy. I can't speak to that small boy. And he completely refused. And Mutua kept on insisting. And the same minister again came back on the line and, ordered me to order Kivuitu to read out the results. So I asked him, Waziri, I am a CEO of a state corporation. I'm dealing with the chairman of an independent electoral commission. What powers do I draw from to order him to release or to read the results? And how do you know that the results are even in favor of your team? They could be favoring the other team and say, no, you just go ahead and ask him to read the results. Of course, I persuaded the late Kivuitu to read the results. He was adamant he was not going to read the results. because in his view, the results did not reflect the voting patterns. Mutua kept on insisting, and at some point, I was able to persuade the chairman, Kivuitu, to speak to Mutua. And they spoke with Mutua just before 6 p.m. They spoke in their vernacular. I don't know what he told the old man, but they spoke in Kikamba. Yeah? For about 10 or so minutes. And thereafter, the chairman then asked me for the desk. And I think the old man was so confused. I don't know what he was told. But he asked me, Bwana MD, where is that table of yours? Where's the table? I set a table for him to read to make the announcement from.
When Kivuitu left, he was given the phone by Nimron Bai, and I told him, just go to that room because you have to read these results. And then I called my friend who was in charge of KBC at the time. He was the editor-in-chief, Wahenya. I told Wahenya, I need a camera person to go into that room, and he'll be escorted. So we connected. So we took him, and he sat there.
So when Mutua talked about talking to Kivuitu and telling him to go to a certain room, I was aware of it. And I actually talked to Kivuitu. And because our nerves were afraid, I remember uncharacteristically shouting at Kivuitu, "You chairman, stop these shenanigans. Go to that room. Announce. Don't give any speech. Just announce." And he did that.
And as he was reading the results, when he was finishing reading the results, the ODM faction and everybody, and they realized, the Pentagon, that the results were being read in that room, and Kivuitu was there. So they came to break up the door. So I told my bodyguard to tell the KBC guy to remove the tape, aeke kwa socks, na aeke ingine hapo a film. So they broke the door, came in, took the camera, but we had the tape of Kivuitu reading.
By the time the other media houses realized that Kivuitu was announcing the results, the tape was with me. And it came to me directly.
I called a gentleman called Mwandime. That time he later became the deputy police commissioner. He was head of the GSU. And I told him I need a tape taken to Broadcasting House. Yeah. And he said, okay, we'll go down to the basement. So this KBC reporter was escorted down to the basement by my bodyguard, Nimron Bai. We got into a GSU vehicle. That tape was escorted to Broadcasting House with about 15 GSU vehicles. Wahenya took it and queued it.
So everything was on me. Okay? So I remember that Sunday, Kivuitu now was actually cracking under pressure. And he announced, he said, I can announce these results from a ship, from the forest, from anywhere where KBC is. When Kivuitu said that, calls started coming in from very senior people whose name I won't mention now. They asked me, okay, look, what capacity do you have? Can you announce these results from Abadeas Forest? One guy asked me, a very senior guy. By that time, I knew the responsibility was on me. I had very trusted people, very, very trusted people. So there was one Land Rover which was well equipped with all outside broadcasting equipment. It was in the forest. We had deployed it. And it was ready. At the coast, of course, we had a full-fledged bureau and we had a whole OB van there. So I knew anywhere we could announce the results. But I was very clear, just as the president was clear, you do not announce results from anybody other than Kivuitu, who was then, we used to call it what? The chairman of ECK. Kibaki was very, very clear. And that is the only one time he called me and asked me, are the results ready? I told him, Your Excellency, no.
When Kibaki called you, that are the results okay?
Yeah.
Where did he expect you to have gotten them from?
You see, I think, in my own thinking, I think he thought that I would be the first one to know.
This thing you're talking about, a tape being, I don't know, I'm the one who made that decision for the sake of this nation, that we'll only have, so that we don't have people jostling for space and fighting all over. And you know, the room was not too big to accommodate everybody in those circumstances. What I did was to allow the National Broadcasting Station of course, record and share the tape.
Having successfully recorded ECK chairman Samuel Kivuitu reading presidential results, announcing with guns pointed, it was at this juncture that the final assault of the grand scheme was executed.
I am not happy to see results coming the way they are coming.
Power was to be cut off for a second time to plunge KICC into darkness. Then Kivuitu be whisked away by Mutua's security aide, Mbai, and driven to State House under 3 minutes.
If you don't accept them, the country is yours, you can finish it. You understand? Because the law...
Just looking at the events of that evening, when power went out, power comes back, election announcement, and all
Did
so on
power
and so
go
forth.
out?
There was.
I was at KICC.
There was broadcast, rather. It's not power. It's
You know,
broadcast goes
those
on.
are the
But-
tales
But
that people build on. I was at KICC. No power went out.
When this minister, powerful minister, asked me to put off the lights, do you know, none of my managers was around. Not even a technician was at the center. People had taken off. This country, the entire country is ODM. Chungwa. So I was looking for technicians. I was looking for my engineer, chief engineer. He was nowhere to be found. No technician. So I actually had to go to this to the station, to the strong room where all the switches are, the switch room. I went with somebody called Ombati, and we had to open the door and find our way through.
A minute before the lights went off, I made sure, because I knew the time lights are going off. The timing, I never guessed it. We had agreed. So I made sure Kivuitu saw me behind him before the lights have gone off. So when the lights went off, I just tapped him on the shoulder. Kamwambia mzee, twende. Now we were talking in Kikamba. So I could see the file chini ya table hapa. Was somewhere in the basement. He was the actual driver. So I knew if I don't see Mutua, I should not go in that car. Yeah? That's how hard the details were. Nisipoona Mutua, hatuingii kwa hiyo gari. Kwa sababu anybody could abduct. Naweza toka na mzee yangu, tukue abducted, tupeleke gari ingine. Na tupate majamaa wanakaa kama security. Sasa na siwajui, it's risking. So tukamua waje Mutua akuwe driver ya gari. So that I can be 100% sure hii ni ile gari. So tukachomoka, tukaingia gari. Kufika KICC outside the gate. So you could tell the car has been taken over. We are just in it. But the level of security As in, there is no way you could reach the car. Saidi iko gari. Hakuna gari iko mbele. But we had been briefed. Yes, kuna ile gari iko mbele. So Mutua knew the car is supposed to follow. If there was something different from that, asimame. Then kuna magari yenye iko sides, kuna magari zenye ziko nyuma. We are sandwiched katikati. So barabara hakuna watu Nairobi kwanza, vita hii Nairobi kumbe inaweza ngara. Hakuna jambo, hakuna mtu anatoa jambo, hakuna askari. So tukafuruga Ikulu. Kuingia kwa gate tukazimamishwa. Sasa hii convoy yote kazimamishwa. Jamaa came to the car. Mzee was taken.
So I walked from Comptroller's office to Kibaki's office. And I found Mwai Kibaki sitting at his desk playing with his granddaughter. He loved his grandkids. And he was with his daughter Judy. And Judy is very formal, proper. When she saw me and knew it's official, so she left. So I told Kibaki what I had done and everything. And then we went and sat at the corner. There was a TV with a seat. So he sat on a couch and I sat on a seat next to him. He had folded his shirt and wearing a tie, folded his shirt. And we watched. And the chaos was going on, and I called Wahenya. I had that I remember the Nokia E52, small silver, whatever. And I called Wahenya, and Wahenya now read the results to me. I put it on speakerphone. But the president said, "Apana, nataka kuiona." So I'm just the two of us. I want to see the results. Because it says the results have to be broadcast. Very cool.
Yeah.
You know, very cool. He wanted to see the results because to him, it was about getting it officially done.
So I had to take the tape personally to the studio and cue it. That time, Kibaki was on the line. Mudhaura was on the line. Mutua was on the line. My phones were ringing, like 6 of them simultaneously. Until when I told Mutua, Kivuitu has announced. Then Mutua asked me, can you read it out? I was on speakerphone and I could. The chief of the general staff, the deputy chief of the general staff, Karangi, was also on the line. So I read. And then I had Kibaki, president, now speaking behind. Nataka kuiona kwa runinga hapo. So I told Mutua, I'm going to the studio. And in 5 minutes, it will be there. We announced it. They forgot to switch off the phones, the mics. So I could hear what they were talking about after the announcement. Wacha nikwambie, Duncan, in my life, I had never ever gone through that kind of stress.
And so when Wahenya was able to pull the tape and get into Betacam SP and then able to show it, and he was declared president on that seat, on that tape that we had taken there. Kibaki was he stood up and hugged me.
Yeah.
That was the first time he had given me a hug. He gave me a hug later on when I told him I'm leaving to run for governor.
Yeah.
He gave me a very good hug. He was quite happy. That's when I realized, actually, he wanted to be president again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before it was neither here nor there. It was the will of the people. He hugged me, and then that's when Michuki walked in, and Mudhaura and everybody congratulating him.
Of all actors in the play, it is Nimrod Mbai, current Kitui East Member of Parliament, who was assigned most dangerous role, that of evacuating Kivuitu from the Tarling Center. How was he prepared for this mentally?
No, it gets to a point where it's do or die. Huh? You know, in the military, there is the very most important training thing you learn is see before you are seen, kill before you are killed. That will save your life, or that will make you killed. If Kahemba, you see me before I see you, and you shoot me before I shoot you, I'm gone. If I see you before you see me and shoot you before you shoot me, I retain my life.
The final act was hurried swearing in of Kibaki for a second term.
Nitatenda kazi zangu za urais.
Done at dusk, which state operatives said was necessary in averting a power vacuum.
Kwa Jamhuri ya Kenya.
Violent protests of no Raila, no peace had started in some parts of the country.
Turudi kwa nyumba, tupumzike, tungoje results. Sasa.
It was getting ugly. But that did not deter Kibaki or his inner sanctum from staying the course. There was no turning back.
Na kwamba nitawatendea haki watu wote wa mujibu wa sheria.
The election results were announced. I was told, or rather ordered, to take the OB van to State House. Okay? So I ordered the crew to go to State House and wait for the announcement and the inauguration of the president.
We were also worried about the swearing in because we had looked at, I remember somebody mentioning that it was exactly 5 years to the day that he had been sworn in as Commander-in-Chief. It was expiring at midnight.
Yeah.
So he would lose, and the feeling was legally, he would cease to be Commander-in-Chief of the armed forces. So he couldn't command them. So it would open him as up to a coup.
Yeah.
So we needed to keep the country in place.
The laws, the rules stated that the president, after we have tarried and issued, the commission has issued a certificate. The president has to be sworn, mark those words, sworn as soon as possible. Mark the phrase as soon as possible. As soon as possible means as soon as possible. The law, that law, does not talk about night or day.
It doesn't matter. You know, I'm 82 years. If I get kidnapped or hijacked, 84. It doesn't matter. Kano has gone and he was younger than me. So we must just tell this.
You see, I think confession is good. And the fact that SK has confessed is something that we need to emulate. That when you know you participated in whatever, you know, and that led to some outcome that was not desirable, I think it's only fair that you know, you say as it is, and then let people make their own judgment. So, well, I think Kenyans need to learn from SK Macharia that when you take action or when you are involved in issues that later on impact negatively on the society, on the community, then you must take responsibility. My brother Hayamba, and you come from where I come from, we don't talk to the dead, especially when they need to defend themselves. So if I must say things about those people who spoke to me, and most of them have gone, they are not here to defend themselves. Is that being fair?
Raila Odinga. Well, I believe Raila has been denied a chance to rule this country.
Raila was a fighter for justice and democracy all his life. When his vote was stolen,
uchaguzi ambayo imekuwa naitwa free and fair tangu tulete hii mfumo wa siasa yenye vyama vingi ni 2002. Hiyo peke yake. Hizi zingine zote unajua SK mwambie nyinyi. SK mwambie nyinyi. Kwa hivyo mimi usimwambie mimi nataka mimi nishinde. Mimi sashinda mara mingi. Sijatangazwa tu. Mimi najua mwaka juzi tulikuwa nasema fungeni 7. Tulisema tufungeni 7. Maana tulikuwa najua ndani ya 7 kuna ukweli. Walifungua. Lakini muhimu ni kwamba Kenya ni mkubwa kushinda sisi zote. What's important is democracy is a project. It's not an instant coffee that you brew and drink at the same time. Round the Bay of Mexico, where the sun shines daily on a mountain top, I took a trip on a sailing ship. When I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a days. My head is down, my head is turning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town.